recently where games researcher James McGonigal found that we spend 3 billion hours a week playing video games. Okay? But as a Top Chef fan, I found it really interesting to find how many video games there are about cooking. How many of you play any of the games about cooking? I so wish that I could shake my Wii remote and have an awesome dinner. My husband probably wishes that I could shake my Wii remote and have an awesome dinner, but it's a lot easier in these games. Awesome. I'd love to be any of these people, but let's face it, bits are nice, but I eat bites. I sure hope that someone can cook better than me and can cook as good as I can with a remote. Right? And as an engineering professor, I'm all about the tangible world. Let's build the real things. And, you know, we celebrate this, right? We as a culture are really proud of the things we build. Spaceships. If you hear people talk about launching spaceships, it's we. We put a man on the moon. We're really proud of these things. Electricity, computers, right? But these are all built by people. President Obama in his inauguration said, you know, the makers of things, these are the ones who've carried us up this path to freedom. We're really proud about making things. Actual things, not just the Wii remote. And we've got a lot of problems, so we better hope that there's a lot of kids out there who can solve these real things. As an engineering professor, I live in this world with a star. Math and science, rah, rah, we're hearing a lot about it all over the news. Creative solving problem, but making and breaking. How many of you as a kid broke a lot of things? Many? Put it back together? Less people? Yeah, well, we better hope that the kids out there can put those things back together and solve things like the pesticides, like building the things to solve global warming. We need these kids breaking things and a few of them figuring out how to put them back together. Right? These are kind of the ones who are saving our problems. And I always think of Shakespeare, right? Shakespeare wrote books, but I suspect he didn't come into the world spouting Macbeth when he was a couple months old, right? How did Shakespeare get to the point that we got these books? Right? Well, he read something. Somewhere along the way, he read someone else's books. You know, we don't think about that, but he was reading something. He didn't come into the world with these ideas. Someone else's ideas sparked his ideas. His mom probably read a lot of really, really bad stories somewhere before we got any of the things that we've read. Well, as an engineer, our books, right, look like this. We've got to take apart these things. We've got to figure out how they work, how we can put them back together. A few of us are better at putting it back together than the others. But someone out there usually can figure out how to put it back together, but you've got to see what it's made of first. You've got to look into the hood, under it, and figure out what the parts are. How do they fit together? Thankfully, these two boys had a mom who was the daughter of a carriage maker. So she was the cool mom who built the fastest sled in the block and taught her kids how to use machine tools. Thank heavens, right? Because anyone know who they are? Wright brothers, right? Their mom was the one building these things. Anyone know who this is? One of my heroes, Paul McCready, the father of human-powered flight. Well, he won an international record designing autogyros as a 14-year-old at the ping pong table. Right? He was the kid taking things apart and putting them back together. Dean Kamen, as a teenager, again, hadn't even finished high school. He rewired secretly the lighting system of the New York Science Museum using parts he got from Radio Shack, and it worked. He was one of those kids who got it back together. Right? We really better hope that kids today are putting things back together. And then I saw this. So 28% of polled US teenagers have had an industrial arts or shop class. Awesome. 100 minus 28. We got 72% that haven't. But no problem, those kids that I just talked about did things at home. Kids today must be doing things at home, right? Well, 83% or less were building things hands-on. Right, again, we live in that real world. I'm hoping someone's learning to cook the cool dinner or build the next space shuttle. 83% or less are spending 2 hours a week. And I know you're all out there saying, it's okay, my kids are okay, and my niece and nephew are okay. I bought them Legos. Who thought that to themselves? My kids at home playing with Legos were gonna be okay. Well, I wish the world was that easy, right? The world's not made out of Legos. Legos snap together nicely. We've got a big problem like energy. Unfortunately, I can't find the really cool little red block and snap it back in and fix it. At some point, someone said that kids start with xylophones and move to accordions, only if at some point you give them an accordion, right? So I'm not saying hand your toddler a chainsaw. This is my daughter, she's 1.5 years. That's a plastic screwdriver, right? But we gotta give kids some credit, because I'm sure hoping that some of the little ones out there are gonna figure out how to solve the big problems. And we gotta give them a little bit more credit than we currently do. Turn of the century, these kids designed and built their own playhouse. They got the building permits, laid the cement, put in a dark room. They weren't in high school yet. Are kids today that much more incompetent and scary that we kind of have to give them safety scissors till high school? At some point, we gotta give them the real tools and hope that making makers today saves all of us tomorrow. Thank you.